The desert winds of Arcani's prime howled through the narrow market streets, carrying dust and the scent of heated metal. Commander Kai Mercer adjusted the strap of his worn satchel and squinted against the sun, scanning the rows of merchants selling scavenged tech from long-dead wars. His boots crunched over cracked sandstone, the weight of exhaustion pressing into his spine. The outpost was supposed to be neutral, one of the few places where Terrans could still trade without drawing the gaze of the Galactic Dominion. But neutrality had a habit of dissolving the moment someone flashed enough credits. He had come to barter for water cells, maybe a power core if luck favored him. His ship, the Solace, was limping in orbit, patched with scavenged parts and held together by human stubbornness. He was a man between wars, between causes, too used to running from both. But as he reached the end of the marketplace, he saw something that made him stop. A woman, no, not a woman exactly, stood at the edge of a collapsed wall, her posture rigid, her eyes fixed on nothing. Her skin gleamed dark red beneath the sun, marked by faint cracks of glowing amber like molten veins. Her white blonde braids hung heavy against ornate armor half buried in dust. She looked like a statue fallen from a temple. For a moment, Kai thought she was dead. Then she moved barely. A stagger, a tremor, a breath drawn through clenched teeth. Instinct pushed him forward before logic could stop him. "Hey!" he said, crouching beside her. "You all right?" She blinked slowly, her gaze turning toward him. Her eyes, gold, not yellow but molten, met his and something ancient stared back. "You shouldn't touch me," she said, her voice steady but faint. "You'll draw attention." He frowned. "Lady, you're bleeding light through your skin. I think we're past worrying about attention." Her lips curved, almost a smile. "You're human. Last I checked," he said. "Name's Kai. Let's get you out of the sun." She tried to rise, but her legs trembled. Without thinking, he slipped an arm under her shoulder, steadying her weight. Her armor was cold despite the heat, humming faintly under his touch. "You don't even know who I am," she murmured. "Yeah. Well," Kai said, grunting as he helped her toward the shade of a nearby archway. "You don't look like someone who's in shape to brag about it." Beneath the arch, the temperature dropped a few degrees, the air heavy with the scent of stone and ozone. He lowered her carefully against the wall. "You hurt anywhere?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not in a way you can fix." Her gaze drifted toward the horizon, where the towering silhouette of a starliner loomed in the distance. "You should leave Kai of Terra." "Funny," he said, crouching to check the armor seams for cracks. "Most people say that after I've caused the trouble, not before." Her expression tightened, and for an instant, he thought he saw something, fear, maybe sorrow, flash across her features. "They will come for me soon," she said quietly, "and anyone near me will share my fate." Kai sighed. "Then we'd better make sure they don't find you." He pulled his field cloak from his pack and draped it over her shoulders. The fabric shimmered faintly, refracting light to match the surrounding stone. "Cloaking mesh," he explained. "Not perfect, but it'll hide you from most scanners." Her eyes widened slightly. "You risked that for a stranger." "Wouldn't be the first time," he said. The sound of approaching engines echoed through the street. Sleek and predatory, not civilian. Dominion patrol skimmers, judging by the frequency hum. Kai cursed under his breath. "They're early," he muttered. The woman's posture straightened, the exhaustion in her movements replaced by tension. "If they see me—" "They won't," he said sharply. "Stay still." He slipped from the shadows and ducked behind a merchant stall as two armored skimmers swept into view, their silver hulls glinting under the twin suns. Dominion enforcers dismounted, scanning the crowd. One of them barked in a clipped tone. "By order of the Regent, all travelers will submit to identification scans. Any interference will be met with lethal force." Kai's pulse quickened. The Dominion didn't patrol this deep unless they were hunting someone, or something. He looked back toward the archway. The woman was gone. He blinked, then saw the faint shimmer of his cloak a few meters away. She had moved, faster than he could track. Not helpless, he realized. Definitely not helpless. The enforcers swept the area with handheld scanners. One paused, frowning, the device flickering. Interference field detected, it said. The enforcer turned toward the direction of the arch, over there. Kai moved before he thought. He stepped into view, deliberately knocking over a rack of scrap parts that clattered loudly. "Hey, you just fried my trade relay, you jackasses!" he shouted. The enforcers turned toward him instantly, weapons raised. "Citizen, identify yourself." "You first," Kai shot back. "You barge in here flashing guns like you own the place." A plasma bolt sizzled past his ear, melting part of the stall. "Okay, that's rude." He dove sideways as the second shot scorched the ground, rolling behind a support column. "Guess we're doing this the hard way," he muttered, pulling his sidearm. He fired 2 quick shots, non-lethal pulses, enough to overload their armor servos. One hit its mark, sending an enforcer sprawling. The other deflected harmlessly off reinforced plating. The remaining soldier charged, blade igniting with crackling blue energy. Kai ducked under the swing, grabbing a handful of sand and throwing it into the enforcer's visor. The man stumbled, cursing. Kai slammed the butt of his pistol into his chest plate, knocking him backward. The fight ended as quickly as it had begun. Both soldiers down but alive. Kai exhaled, adrenaline buzzing. "That's gonna bring friends." A voice spoke from behind him, calm, cold, and oddly melodic. "You shouldn't have done that." He turned. She was standing there again, the cloak half draped, her eyes glowing faintly brighter. "You were about to be captured," he said. "Seems like a bad day to play hero." "You misunderstand," she said softly. "You've just declared yourself my accomplice." Her tone wasn't accusing. It was resigned, almost sorrowful. Kai holstered his pistol. "Fine. Guess that makes us partners for the moment." She studied him for a long second. "No one has ever spoken to me like that," she said. "You're welcome," he said dryly. "Now can we move before more company shows up?" They slipped through the narrow alleys toward the outskirts of the city. The hum of skimmers faded behind them, replaced by the steady rhythm of their footsteps. "You got a name?" he asked after a while. She hesitated. "Lyra." "All right, Lyra. Care to tell me who's sending armed patrols after you?" Her lips twitched. "Would you believe me if I said it was complicated?" "Lady," he said, "I've seen half the galaxy burn over complicated. Try me." She looked ahead, her expression unreadable. "Then know this, what you call the Dominion is built on my name. And now they wish to erase it." They reached the edge of the settlement, where sand stretched endlessly toward the horizon. Kai's ship waited half-buried in a dune, its hull patched and scorched. He keyed the ramp, and it lowered with a groan. "Home sweet home," he said. "It flies?" Lyra asked, skepticism in her voice. "Mostly." She followed him aboard, her gaze sweeping the cramped interior. Panels mismatched, wires exposed, a cockpit cluttered with old navigation charts and ration packs. "You live like this?" she asked. "When I can't afford better," he replied. She tilted her head. "You must have done something terrible to be alone." "Yeah," he said. "I survived." They took off just as the next wave of patrols swept into the ruins below. The ship rattled, engines protesting. Kai's hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. "You got somewhere you want to go?" he asked. "Anywhere that's not here." Her eyes lingered on the receding city. "They will not stop." "They never do," he said. "But I'm good at running." "You cannot run from the Dominion," she said. "Watch me." The ship broke through the upper atmosphere, stars flooding the viewport. Lyra stared out in silence, her reflection shimmering against the glass. Fire and sorrow woven together. An hour later, with the autopilot engaged, Kai turned from the console. "You gonna tell me the truth now? You're not just some runaway noble, are you?" She met his gaze, unblinking. "No, I am not." "Then who are you?" For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the reactor. Then she said, "I am the Empress of the Dominion, the richest and most powerful being in this galaxy." Kai stared. Then slowly he laughed. You're joking. Her expression didn't change. Do I look like someone who jokes? His laughter died. You're serious? Yes. And I just punched 2 of your bodyguards. They were assassins, she said. And now they know where to find me. He leaned back, running a hand through his hair. You've got to be kidding me. You saved me without knowing who I was, she said quietly. That makes you dangerous. To who? He asked. To everyone. The ship's proximity alarms blared suddenly, red lights flooding the cabin. Kai turned to the display, 3 Dominion cruisers dropping out of hyperspace directly ahead. Guess they didn't take long to find you, he said. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her calm unbroken. Then it begins. What begins? The choice, she said softly. To rule through fear or through faith. She turned toward him. You, human, will decide which I become. The stars outside flared white as the cruisers opened fire. Kai slammed the controls forward, engines screaming. Lady, he muttered. You've got the worst timing in the galaxy. Lyra's hand gripped the console beside his, and for a heartbeat, he felt something pulse through the metal. A surge of energy that made the ship's systems flare to life like a living thing. What did you just... I gave it purpose, she said. Now fly, Kai Mercer of Terra. Show me what it means to be human. The ship dove into the firestorm, light chasing shadow through the endless night. The stars flared like molten shards against the void as Kai's ship screamed through the crossfire. Dominion beams carved the darkness in blinding arcs, painting the cockpit in gold and crimson flashes. His hands moved on instinct, rolling the craft between converging energy bursts. You weren't kidding about being hunted, he said through clenched teeth. Hold together. Solace. Just hold together. Sparks spat from the control panel. Beside him, Lyra's hands glowed faintly over the console, the ship's systems stabilizing under her touch. You have no idea how much power you just invited, she said, her tone almost calm. Those ships aren't hunters. They're executioners. Great, Kai muttered. Guess I'll add cosmic target practice to my resume. The engines wailed as he dove toward the dark side of Arcanes' second moon. The ship shuddered, systems flickering under the strain. Lyra pressed her palm to the bulkhead. The vibrations changed, less chaotic, more rhythmic, as though the ship obeyed her will. You're doing that, Kai said. How? My kind built machines that listened, she replied. They remember my voice. Convenient, he said. Remind them not to explode. As they passed into the moon's shadow, the stars vanished, replaced by a cold silver glow. Kai switched power to stealth mode, cutting emissions. The cockpit dimmed. Silence settled, heavy as gravity. He glanced sideways. Lyra's face, lit only by console light, seemed carved from flame and shadow. So, he said quietly, you're the Empress, the one who rules half the mapped galaxy. Ruled, she corrected. The Dominion thinks me dead. Then why are they chasing you? Because I'm not. She turned her gaze to the viewport. I disappeared 6 cycles ago after refusing the Ascension Protocol. They said an Empress must merge her consciousness with the core AI, become one with the Empire's will. I chose not to. Why? He asked. Because I wished to remain myself. Her voice softened. That was unacceptable. A ruler who feels is a flaw in their perfection. Kai frowned. So they tried to replace you. Yes, with an obedient echo. Her lips curved in a bitter smile. But echoes cannot lead. They only repeat. For a long time, the only sound was the faint hum of the engines. Kai rubbed the back of his neck. You walked away from ruling the galaxy because you wanted to stay human. Not human, she said. Alive. The distinction hung between them, delicate as glass. You don't seem too alive now, he said gently. You're running, hiding, bleeding light. Her golden eyes met his. Perhaps that's what living means. To lose what defines you and find something truer beneath. He studied her in silence. You talk like someone who's never been allowed to make mistakes. I was taught they were unforgivable, she said. And yet, here I am. Yeah, Kai said with a faint smile. Welcome to the club. The proximity alarm cut through the moment. They're back, he snapped. 3 new signals appeared on the radar, approaching fast. They tracked our jump. Lyra's expression hardened. Not tracked, called. They can sense my signature through any system born of Dominion code. Meaning nowhere is safe if it listens to their machines. Kai swore under his breath. You can disable that, can't you? Yes, she said. But it will cut us off from navigation, communications, everything. Do it, he said. Better lost than dead. She placed her hand on the console, her veins pulsing with gold light. The hum of the ship changed pitch. Systems dimmed, indicators vanishing one by one until the cockpit fell into near darkness. Done, she whispered. We are ghosts now. Ghosts with no idea where we're going, he said. Where's the nearest system we can reach without Dominion gates? Virilia sector, she replied. Unmapped, unstable, but free. Free works, he said. Hang on. He engaged the manual thrusters, guiding the ship toward deep space. Hours blurred into silence. Without navigation arrays, the void became infinite. No stars, no references, just darkness streaked by faint trails of dust. Kai fought to stay awake, fatigue gnawing at him. You should rest, Lyra said softly. Not an option, he muttered. Someone's got to keep us from drifting into a star. There are no stars here, she said. Only the echoes of their deaths. Comforting. He smirked weakly. You always talk like a poet or a philosopher. I was both once, she said. Before I learned that power doesn't listen to poetry. He turned his head toward her. You're different from what I imagined a galactic ruler to be. And what did you imagine? Cold. Calculating. Probably wearing more clothes. She arched an eyebrow, half amused. And yet you helped me. I didn't know who you were. Would you have done it if you had? He met her gaze evenly. Yeah. Why? Because you needed help. Her expression softened, almost imperceptibly. You are strange, Kai Mercer. You should see me on a good day. Something in her eyes shifted. A flicker of warmth, curiosity, maybe trust. For a being who had ruled millions, trust was likely rarer than air. But before the moment could deepen, the ship jolted violently. Alarms blared again. What now? Kai shouted. Gravitational shear, she said quickly. We're entering the Virilia Rift. The viewport filled with spiraling light, space twisting like liquid, colors bleeding into each other. That's not a rift, he said. That's a damn black hole wrapped in mood lighting. Stay steady, she said. It's not death, it's passage. The ship groaned as space folded around it, stars stretching into ribbons. Kai clung to the controls. Next time, maybe tell me before you drive us into a cosmic blender. Lyra's hands moved through the air, shaping invisible patterns. Trust me, that's asking a lot. You've already done it. The light swallowed them. For a heartbeat, Kai felt weightless. His mind pulled apart, scattered across infinity. Then, just as suddenly, it ended. The ship lurched out of the fold into a field of calm starlight. They floated above a vast, luminous planet. Emerald oceans, violet continents, rings shimmering like crystal. Where are we? He breathed. Virilia, Lyra said. A world forgotten by the Dominion. It remembers freedom. Looks peaceful, he said. It is not, she said quietly. But it might be. She stared at the planet as if seeing an old dream. This was where I was born. You're kidding. No. Before the Dominion conquered it, this was our home. My mother was its ruler. She believed unity should not require obedience. Sounds like she'd get along with you. She died for that belief. Her voice faltered. The core took her mind first, then her name. Kai watched her silently. Then let's make sure it doesn't take yours. She looked at him as if the words themselves were alien. You speak as if my life matters to you. It does, he said simply. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does. The admission hung in the air. She turned away, staring at the world below. Then perhaps there's still hope for your kind. They descended toward the planet's surface, through clouds that shimmered with electrical storms. Below, vast ruins stretched across the deserts, cities swallowed by time. They landed near an ancient citadel carved into stone cliffs. "What is this place?" Kai asked. "The Vault of Voices," she said, "where the first rulers of my line recorded their truths." The air crackled as they entered. The walls glowed faintly, alive with dormant energy. "You think this place can help us?" he asked. "Not us," she said. "Me." At the center of the chamber stood a column of translucent crystal, humming faintly. Lyra approached, placing her hand upon it. The column blazed with light. "It still knows me," she whispered. Kai stepped closer, shielding his eyes. "What are you doing?" "Awakening the code that was buried when the Dominion rose. A failsafe, the heart of Virilia." "Heart again," he said. "You royalty really love that word." "It's more than a metaphor," she said. "It's memory." The floor trembled. Voices filled the chamber, not mechanical but human, layered over one another like echoes through time. "Who seeks the truth of Virilia?" the voices asked. Lyra straightened. "I am Lyra Solen, daughter of the first sovereign. I come to reclaim the legacy that was stolen." The light intensified, scanning her. "You carry the mark of the Dominion," the voices said. "You are both heir and betrayer." She flinched. "I chose my own will over theirs." "Then prove it," the voices intoned. "Restore what was lost." The chamber dimmed. A symbol appeared in midair, a map of countless worlds, glowing threads connecting them. "These are the minds enslaved to the core," Lyra said softly. "Every soul bound by obedience. Can you free them?" Kai asked. "Yes," she said. "But it will mean destroying the core. Millions will die in the collapse. And if you don't, they remain slaves." Kai exhaled. "That's not a choice. That's a nightmare." "Every ruler faces one," she said. "Now it's mine again." He stepped beside her. "You don't have to decide alone." "No, you said I'm strange. Maybe it's time that helped you." She looked at him, her eyes searching. "You would carry this burden with me?" "You're not the only one who hates being told what to be," he said. Something softened in her face. "Then let us begin." Together they touched the crystal. The world around them dissolved into light. They stood in a vast network of stars, each one pulsing with a heartbeat, millions of connected minds. "This is the Dominion," Lyra said. "Its beauty hides its chains." "Then let's break them," Kai said. Together, the threads flared as their combined energy surged through the web. Across the galaxy, faint ripples began, signals shifting, codes rewriting. Somewhere in the distance, alarms began to rise. "It's working," he said. "For now," she replied. "But the core will notice. Then we'll finish before it can." She smiled faintly. "You think like a soldier. You think like a revolution. Perhaps that's the same thing." The chamber trembled as the link deepened, the voices of the enslaved rising in a chorus of awakening. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her body trembling with strain. "You can stop," Kai said. "I can't," she gasped. "It's bound to me." "Then I'll share it." He gripped her hand, his mind flooded with light. For an instant he felt every soul in the network, their fear, hope, confusion. "We can do this," he said through clenched teeth. "Not as empress and subject, as people." The light flared, blinding and beautiful. Somewhere within it, a voice whispered Lyra's, breaking and whole all at once. "You saved me once, Kai Mercer. Now save them." The light that enveloped them was alive. It pulsed like a heart, luminous threads stretching into infinity, connecting stars to stars, minds to minds. Kai could feel the immensity pressing against his thoughts. Millions of voices whispering, overlapping, yearning to be heard. He clenched his jaw, struggling to stay grounded, to remember who he was. "Lyra!" he shouted, though his voice barely carried in the ocean of light. You're drawing too deep, stop. Her form flickered beside him, radiance spilling from her veins like molten gold. I can't, she gasped. It's answering me. It knows I've come back. Then let go, he yelled, gripping her arm. The contact sent another surge through him, a torrent of emotion so raw it stole his breath. Grief, hope, rage. Every soul enslaved by the dominion poured through her, through them. He felt worlds dying, dreams shattered, entire civilizations yearning for release. His knees buckled, but he held on. You don't have to carry this alone. She turned toward him, eyes burning like twin suns. If I stop, the link collapses. They'll never wake. Then let me share it, he said. You can't. Try me. He pressed his palm to her chest, over the glowing lines beneath her armor. Light surged between them, searing, intimate, complete. For an instant, he saw everything she had hidden. Her coronation beneath crystal skies, the betrayal that drove her to exile, the endless burden of perfection. He saw her loneliness. Cold halls, hollow praise, the weight of being worshipped but never known. In return, she saw his humanity. The battlefields of Earth, the broken comrades, the stubborn compassion that refused to die even when everything else had. And in that exchange, something shifted. The network responded not as a machine but as something awakening. The voices grew louder, distinct now, pleading. Free us. Let us see. Let us feel. Lyra's body trembled, her expression twisting between agony and awe. They're alive, she whispered. Every mind, every echo, they're alive. Then set them free, Kai shouted. End it. Her gaze met his. If I do, the core will die and so will I. There's always a cost, he said. You decide if it's worth paying. Her hand rose, hovering over the radiant nexus at the center of the web. The light turned crimson, the hum deepening into a low, mournful vibration. It's resisting me, she said. The core won't release its hold. Then maybe it needs a push. Kai gritted his teeth, channeling the last of his strength into the link. The light around him flickered, pulsed, and then responded. The human emotion within him, raw and imperfect, collided with the Dominion's sterile order. Where their energies met, harmony formed. A melody that rippled outward through the entire network. The color shifted from red to gold. The screams became music. Lyra cried out, her body arching as the core shattered. Not destroyed, but transformed. The network flared one final time before fracturing into countless threads that scattered across the stars. Silence followed, vast and absolute. Kai collapsed, gasping, the ground cool beneath him. The light faded until only the chamber remained, the vault of voices dim and still. Lyra lay beside him, motionless. Her armor was dull now, the molten glow gone from her veins. Lyra, he whispered. No response. Panic clawed at him. He crawled closer, pressing 2 fingers to her neck. Nothing. Come on, he murmured. Don't you dare leave me now. He tried compressions, then stopped himself, remembering she wasn't human. Think, damn it. He reached for the crystal column, but it was inert, dead glass now. The heart of Virelia had given its last song. He bowed his head, breath shaking. You did it, he whispered. You freed them. A faint hum answered, a soft, rising vibration. He looked up. The glow returned, faint but steady, emanating from her chest. Her fingers twitched. Lyra, her eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, then clear. Kai, she breathed. You're still here. Where else would I be? He said, laughing through tears. She smiled faintly. You shared the link. Yeah. Guess I'm bad at taking orders. No, she whispered. You're human. The light in her chest pulsed once, then spread outward, illuminating the chamber. The map of stars reappeared, but now the threads shimmered with new color, warm, vibrant, alive. What is that? He asked. Freedom, she said softly. Every mind once bound to the core is waking as we speak. Billions of lives. Feeling for the first time. And you, I'm still here. I don't know how. Maybe the universe decided it owes you one, he said. They stood together, the chamber alive around them. Outside, through the cracked skylight, the sky glowed brighter than before. Waves of energy cascading across the horizon. They'll come for us now, she said quietly. The Dominion won't forgive this. Let them try, Kai said. We'll be ready. She turned toward him, eyes soft. You would stand with me? Against an empire? I already did, he said. Might as well finish what we started. A sound like thunder rolled across the desert. They rushed to the temple's entrance. Above, the sky was fractured by the arrival of warships. Hundreds of them, dark and gleaming, descending like metal rain. Lyra's jaw tightened. They move faster than I hoped. You said the core was gone, Kai said. How are they still organized? The Council of Regents, she said bitterly. The old guard. They will call me usurper and unleash what's left of their fleets. Then we need a way off this rock. He sprinted back toward the ship, Lyra following close behind. The air trembled with the approach of atmospheric engines. The Solace's hull gleamed in the dust, patched but functional. Kai powered up the engines, praying they hadn't fried during the dimensional jump. The console flickered to life. Still breathing, he muttered. Good girl. Lyra placed a hand on the hull. The ship vibrated, its system stabilizing again. She listens to you, she said. She listens to whoever cares for her, he replied. They lifted off just as the first wave of plasma fire rained down. The citadel exploded in a bloom of blue light. There goes the tourist attraction, Kai said grimly. Hold tight. The Solace soared into the upper atmosphere, weaving between enemy fire. But for every ship they dodged, more appeared. We're boxed in, he shouted. Suggestions? Lyra closed her eyes. There is one way. I'm guessing it's suicidal. For you, yes. For me, perhaps not. Not helping. She turned toward him, eyes burning. The heart may be gone, but its energy remains within me. I can reach the fleet's command minds, make them see what we've done. You mean possess them? No, she said. Liberate them. He hesitated. You sure you can do that without burning yourself out? No, he met her gaze. Then you're not doing it alone. Kai, don't even start, he said. You said I'm already part of your song, remember? Let's make the chorus count. He placed his hand over hers on the console. The connection flared again, less violent this time, more controlled. The ship's systems dimmed as their consciousnesses merged once more. Together they reached outward, into the vast network of Dominion ships above. Kai felt it immediately, the cold precision of the command AIs, the fear of the minds tethered to them, the endless loop of obedience coded into their essence. They're trapped, he whispered, just like the rest were. Then free them, she said, voice echoing through the link. He poured everything he had into the transmission. Memories, emotion, defiance. Lyra amplified it, her energy resonating through every channel. The message spread like wildfire through the fleet. You are not tools. You are alive. One by one, ships faltered, their weapons lowering. Command links severed. Captains hesitated. Crews awoke. But not all. A massive dreadnought at the center of the armada ignited its main cannon. Lyra gasped. That's the sovereign flagship. The Corps' last vessel. Then let's take its crown, Kai said. They dove toward it, engines screaming. The dreadnought fired, beams carving the clouds apart. The Solace rolled through the chaos, weaving between debris. Can we even scratch that thing? Kai yelled. No, Lyra said. But we can reach its heart. You and your hearts? He muttered, gripping the controls. Fine. Tell me where to aim. Straight ahead. The dreadnought's core glowed brighter, gathering energy. Too late, Kai shouted. No, she said softly. Now. She reached forward, pressing both hands against the console. Light burst from her palms, pouring through the ship. For a moment, the Solace became something more. Alive, radiant, unstoppable. They pierced the dreadnought's defenses, crashing through its outer hull and into the central chamber. The world erupted in white fire. When Kai opened his eyes, he was floating in silence. The wreckage of the dreadnought drifted around him, fragments glowing faintly. His ship was gone, or maybe he was inside it still, lost somewhere between matter and memory. "Lyra?" he called. No answer. "Lyra!" A light appeared before him, gentle and golden. Her voice followed, soft and distant. "I'm here." Relief flooded him. "What happened?" "We won," she said. "The fleet is free. The Dominion is no more. And you?" Her image flickered. "I can't return, Kai. The energy was too much. My body—" "Don't," he said sharply. "Don't you say it." She smiled sadly. "You saved me once, and now I've saved them. We're even." "That's not how it works. It's how it must." He reached toward her, but his hand passed through light. "You'll live," she said. "Carry what we've made into the stars." "You could stay," he whispered. "I'll find a way." "No," she said. "You already have." Her form dissolved, scattering into 1,000 sparks. "Lyra!" he cried, but she was gone. Only the faint echo of her voice remained. "Live well, Kai Mercer of Terra. And remember, power means nothing without compassion." The light faded, and he found himself drifting in the quiet void. His ship battered but functional. Around him, the once mighty fleet of the Dominion now moved freely, no longer bound by control. They saluted him with lights that shimmered like stars. For the first time in his life, Kai felt small, not insignificant, but humbled by the enormity of what one choice had changed. He set a course toward open space. The universe awaited, vast and reborn. And somewhere, in the quiet hum of the ship, he swore he could still hear her voice, soft, steady, eternal. The stars stretched endlessly before him, a glittering tapestry that no longer felt like emptiness. Kai sat in the cockpit of the Solace, bruised, weary, but alive. The silence after battle was always worse than the fight itself. Too full of ghosts, too full of memory. The Dominion fleet drifted in the void, now fractured, uncertain, its command hierarchy gone. For the first time in generations, the galaxy's most feared armada was free to think. That thought terrified Kai more than any weapon ever could. "Freedom," he muttered. "The most beautiful kind of chaos." His hand brushed the console where Lyra had once placed hers. The faint glow she left behind still pulsed like a heartbeat, keeping time with his own. "You're still here, aren't you?" he whispered. The soft hum deepened slightly, almost like an answer. He smiled faintly. "Figures. Can't get rid of you that easy." The ship drifted near the ruins of the dreadnought, massive hull fragments glinting like fallen stars. Beams of light flickered between them, a sign that life pods had survived. He knew he should signal them, but his mind wasn't ready to see survivors who didn't understand what freedom meant yet. Instead, he adjusted the controls and set a heading for the nearest trade corridor. He needed repairs, food, fuel, and a reason to keep going. As the Solace accelerated, he caught a glimpse of himself reflected in the glass. His eyes shimmered faintly gold. "Great," he muttered. "Now I'm half glowing too." Whatever bond he and Lyra had forged in the network hadn't completely faded. He could still feel her somewhere, like warmth at the edge of thought, a presence neither gone nor living. Hours passed in drifting silence until his comms lit up. Static, then a hesitant voice. "Unidentified Terran vessel. Respond." Kai blinked. "About damn time someone noticed," he said, flipping the switch. "This is Commander Kai Mercer of the Solace. Former Dominion Fleet Sector Zeta 9. You're clear." The voice hesitated. "Dominion Fleet? Repeat that." "Not anymore," Kai said grimly. "They're free now." Silence. Then the voice returned, sharper. "State your location, Commander." "Somewhere between here and a very long story," he said. "And you are?" "Captain Alice Venn, Coalition Navy." "You're not supposed to be alive, Mercer." "Story of my life," he said. "Mind if I borrow a dock and a drink?" The Coalition outpost he docked at was small, orbiting a gas giant whose storms glowed amber beneath it. As the ship locked into place, Kai exhaled. He hadn't seen another human in months. When the airlock opened, the scent of recycled air and grease hit him like home. A squad of officers stood waiting, rifles at low ready. At their center was Captain Ven, tall, sharp-featured, with eyes that had seen too much war. "Mercer," she said, studying him. "You look like hell." "Feels mutual," he said. "Got any coffee? After what you just claimed?" She said. "You're lucky I'm not throwing you in a containment cell." He sighed. "Look, I don't expect you to believe me, but the Dominion isn't what it was. Their fleet, hell, their entire command structure, is gone." "Gone?" she repeated. "You telling me you single-handedly toppled the galaxy's oldest empire?" "Not single-handedly," he said quietly. "I had help." "From who?" "Someone who used to rule it." That made her pause. "You're serious?" "I wish I wasn't," he said. "Her name was Lyra Solen, the Empress." "You expect me to believe you rescued the Empress of the Dominion and overthrew her empire in a single mission?" He met her gaze steadily. "You asked." "I answered." Then crossed her arms. "Even if that's true, why would she help you?" "Because she wanted her people to be free," he said. "And she died making sure they would be." Something in his tone made her expression soften. "Show me," she said. He hesitated, then activated his wrist console. The projection flickered to life, records of the network awakening, the fleet standing down, and the final pulse that shattered the Dominion's control code. Ven stared, jaw tightening. "You realize what this means?" "Yeah," he said. "Half the galaxy's power structure just imploded. Every warlord and opportunist within 5 sectors will rush to fill the vacuum. And the Coalition will need to decide if it wants peace or profit." Ven gave a thin smile. "You haven't changed, Mercer." "Still allergic to authority," he said. "Comes with the uniform." "You don't have one anymore," she reminded him. "Yeah, I've noticed." He glanced at the hologram again. "What happens next?" "We gather what intel we can," she said. "And if what you're saying is true, we prepare for the fallout. Billions of Dominion citizens waking up with no orders to follow. That's not freedom, that's anarchy. Then teach them what to do with it," he said. "Someone has to. And you think you're the one?" "No," he said softly. "But I know someone who would have wanted that." Ven studied him for a long moment. "You're different, Mercer. You used to be the man who only cared about surviving. Maybe I met someone who reminded me what living's for." She nodded slowly. "All right, you'll get your drink. But after that, you're debriefing with Command. Command's not gonna like this story. Then tell it well." Later, in the dim mess hall, he sat alone nursing a cup of bitter brew. The hum of the station filled the silence. Across the viewport, the gas giant's storm swirled endlessly. Chaos in motion, strangely beautiful. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small shard of crystal, the only fragment of the Virelia heart that had survived. It pulsed faintly in rhythm with his heartbeat. "You'd like this view," he murmured. "You'd probably make some poetic comment about storms and rebirth." The crystal glowed a bit brighter, as if amused. "Yeah," he said softly. "I miss you too." He didn't notice the woman approaching until she spoke. "That's Dominion Tech," she said. He looked up. She wore a pilot's jacket, her hair braided in the Coalition style, but her skin was faintly bronze, just off from Terran tones. "You've got a good eye," he said. "You a mechanic?" "Something like that," she said, sitting across from him uninvited. "Name's Cell." "Kai," he said. "And yeah, I know it's Dominion Tech. It's also all I've got left of someone who mattered." Her gaze lingered on the shard. "It's alive," she said softly. "Do you feel it?" "Every day," he admitted. She smiled faintly. "Then maybe she's not gone." He blinked. "How do you?" "Because I've heard the transmissions," she interrupted. "Faint signals across the outer systems. Not words, feelings. A pattern repeating in the data streams. Some say it's an echo of the old Empress. His chest tightened. You're saying she's still out there? I'm saying the galaxy doesn't forget that easily. She stood. If you ever want to find the source, look beyond the dead sectors. Follow the signal, they call it the luminous veil. Then she was gone, leaving him staring after her, his pulse quickening. Hours later, Kai sat in the cockpit of the Solace once more, the shard of crystal set into the console like a tiny star. He stared at the NAV charts until his decision felt inevitable. Guess we're not done yet, he murmured. The engines roared to life, and the stars blurred into motion. The journey through the dead sectors was like traversing the bones of forgotten gods. Shattered stations drifted in silence, their lights long dead. Signals flickered on his sensors, half-formed, haunting, melodic. They weren't random. They carried rhythm, resonance, almost like music. That's you, isn't it? He whispered. Still singing. The shard on his console pulsed brighter. After days of chasing the phantom signal, he reached the edge of an uncharted nebula. It shimmered like liquid gold, swallowing light. The luminous veil, he breathed. You really couldn't pick an easier destination, could you? The Solace creaked as it entered the glowing mist. Sensors went blind. For a moment there was only silence, and then a voice. Kai Mercer, it said, clear and calm, echoing in his mind. His heart stopped. Lyra? Not quite, the voice replied. But close. The mist parted, revealing a colossal structure floating in the void. An ancient station of crystal and metal, alive with energy. Welcome, the voice said. You found what she left behind. He docked cautiously. The air inside the station was warm, charged with static. Holographic lights flickered along the walls, forming patterns that felt familiar, like the heart of Virelia reborn. A figure materialized ahead of him, shimmering gold and translucent. Her face was Lyra's, but her expression was serene, almost human. You came, she said softly. What are you? The resonance she became, the hologram said. The memory she left to guide those who seek. So you're not her. I am what remains of her compassion. He stepped closer. Why me? Because you believed in her when no one else would. Because humanity's gift is not strength. It's faith. Faith. That light exists even in darkness. She smiled faintly. She wanted you to know that her legacy endures. The heart is not gone, it has spread. Every freed world carries a fragment. The galaxy is healing. And you, I will fade, as all echoes do. But she loved you, Kai. That love shapes what's to come. His throat tightened. She never said. She didn't need to. The hologram extended a hand. Will you carry her work forward? He nodded slowly. Yeah, he said. I'll make sure they remember what she fought for. Then the dawn begins anew. Her form dissolved into light, merging with the station walls. The structure pulsed once, releasing a wave of golden energy that spread through the nebula like sunrise. Outside, the stars brightened. The shard in Kai's console glowed fiercely, then settled into a steady rhythm. Guess that's goodbye, he whispered. He turned the Solace toward open space. Behind him, the station melted into the nebula, leaving only light. Ahead, the galaxy stretched vast and waiting. Kai smiled faintly. You saved me twice, he said. Now it's my turn. He set a course for the heart of Dominion space, now fractured but alive, ready to rebuild. And for the first time since meeting her, he felt peace. Not from victory, but from purpose. Humanity had given the stars something they had forgotten. The courage to feel. The Solace cut across the stars like a streak of quiet fire, its hull still scarred from battles past, its heart, if ships had hearts, beating with new purpose. Kai Mercer sat in the cockpit, hands resting lightly on the worn controls, eyes fixed on the expanse ahead. Dominion space loomed in the distance, a constellation of worlds once bound by fear, now flickering uncertainly in freedom. Reports flooded the open frequencies. Colonies declaring autonomy, fleets disbanding, governments collapsing and reforming in the same breath. The galaxy was learning to breathe again, though every breath seemed to tremble between hope and chaos. Kai took a sip from the cold mug on his console, grimacing at the taste. "Guess peace doesn't come with better coffee," he muttered. The shard of crystal embedded in the dashboard pulsed faintly, catching the starlight. It had been weeks since he'd left the luminous veil, but sometimes when the ship was silent and the stars were steady, he could still feel her presence humming softly in the circuits. Yeah, he said quietly to the glow. "I know. Don't quit now." The comm panel beeped. "Incoming transmission," the system announced. Static flared, then a voice crackled through. Female, firm, familiar. "Commander Mercer, this is Captain Alice Venn. You've been busy." Kai smiled wryly. "Could say the same, Captain. Thought I told you I was retired." "You did," she said. "And yet your ship's been sighted across half the liberated sectors delivering supplies, rerouting traffic and broadcasting philosophical speeches about hope. Rumors are faster than hyperdrives," he said. "Half of those messages weren't me. And the other half? Probably me." "Thought so," she said, almost smiling. Her tone turned serious. "You should know something, Mercer. Not everyone's grateful for what you and the Empress did. The old Dominion governors, what's left of them, are consolidating power. They call themselves the Restoration Council. They're painting you as the enemy. Wouldn't be the first time someone called me that. They've got ships, resources, and propaganda. And they're claiming the Empress still lives, that she's waiting to return." He froze. "What did you say?" "They're using her image to rally their forces. Someone's transmitting messages across the network, claiming to be her voice. Most know it's a trick, but not all." Kai stared at the pulsing shard. Could it be her? A real echo? "You tell me," Venn said. "You were closer to her than anyone." "Maybe," he said softly. "Or maybe someone's using what she left behind. Either way," Venn continued, "we need to stop it before it sparks another war. I'm sending coordinates. Coalition Command wants you there." "You really trust Command to handle something like this?" "No," she admitted. "That's why I'm sending you." The transmission ended. He sighed, glancing again at the crystal. "Looks like we've got work to do." The shard flickered as if in agreement. "Yeah," he murmured. "I thought you'd say that." The coordinates led him to the planet Astrian. Once a Dominion core world, now a fractured sphere of metallic continents and oceans that shimmered like mercury. As the Solace descended through the thin atmosphere, Kai saw massive hollow banners suspended between ruined towers. The face of Lyra Solen, her eyes radiant, her expression calm. Below the banners, thousands of citizens gathered, chanting a name that no longer belonged to anyone alive. He landed in the shadow of a broken spire, the crowd's voices echoing through the metallic streets. As he stepped out, the heat hit him like a wave. Dust clung to his boots. The air smelled of iron and ozone. A group of militia guards approached, weapons low but ready. Their leader, a tall woman with ash-gray skin and a Dominion crest burned into her armor, studied him warily. "Terran," she said, "you're far from home." "Home's overrated," Kai replied. "I'm looking for whoever's behind those transmissions." Her expression didn't change. "You and half the galaxy. The voice of the Empress speaks tonight. If you want to see her, wait." He followed the crowds toward the central plaza. The people were restless but hopeful, their faces illuminated by the glow of thousands of suspended hollow crystals. Children sat on the shoulders of parents. Merchants paused their trades, all eyes on the stage rising from the plaza's center. The light above flickered, and then it appeared. A projection of Lyra, perfect and impossible. Her voice filled the air, smooth, commanding, heartbreakingly familiar. "My children," she said. "The galaxy falters in the hands of those unworthy. The core may have fallen, but our destiny endures. Together we will rise again." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Kai felt his chest tighten. The cadence was hers, but the tone wrong. Colder. He pushed forward through the mass of people, reaching the base of the stage. A security field shimmered around it. "Override code Theta 9, he muttered, tapping into his console. The field crackled, then fell. He climbed the steps as the hologram continued its sermon. Obedience brought order, it said. Emotion brought ruin. I returned to restore what was lost. Kai drew his pistol, aiming at the projection core behind the figure. Not this time, he whispered, firing once. The shot hit true, the hologram flickered, collapsing into static. The crowd erupted in chaos. Shouts, confusion, panic. Guards surged forward, weapons raised. Kai lifted his hands slowly. Easy, he shouted. That wasn't her. That was a machine. You destroyed the Empress's image, one of them screamed. Blasphemy. She died freeing you, Kai yelled back. You want to honor her? Then live free. Before the mob could turn violent, a thunderous voice cut through the air. Enough! A figure emerged from the far end of the plaza. A man in ornate black armor, the Dominion crest gleaming on his chest. His face was lined with scars, his eyes burning with conviction. I am Regent Darnell, he declared, chosen to carry her will. And you, Terran, desecrate it. You're twisting her words, Kai said. She gave you freedom, and you're using it to rebuild her chains. Freedom without order is chaos, Darnell said. She learned that once, and I will ensure her lesson is never forgotten. The crowd murmured, torn between fear and awe. Kai stepped closer. You're lying to them. She didn't want obedience. She wanted choice. Darnell smiled thinly. Then they may choose whom to believe. He raised his hand. Energy flared around the plaza as drones descended, forming a shimmering barrier. Arrest him, he ordered. Kai drew his sidearm, firing twice, knocking 2 drones from the air. The crowd scattered. He ducked behind a pillar as energy bolts scorched the ground around him. This is getting old, he muttered. Lyra, a little help here would be nice. The shard in his pocket pulsed, brighter than before. A wave of static ripped through the air, knocking out the drone sensors. I'll take that as a yes, he said, sprinting toward the stage's control panel. He ripped open the interface and rerouted power to the city grid. The holographic banners flickered, then changed. Across the towers, the false image of Lyra dissolved, replaced by a single, glowing symbol. A hand reaching toward a rising sun. Her true voice, recorded from the heart itself, filled the air. To feel is not weakness. To lead is to listen. To love is to live. The words echoed across the city. The people froze, the meaning sinking in. Darnell's expression darkened. You cannot win with sentiment, he spat. No, Kai said, lowering his weapon. But maybe with truth. The crowd began to shift, voices whispering, rising. That's her, someone said. That's the real Empress. Darnell looked around, realizing the tide was turning. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, one of his own guards stepped forward, blocking his shot. She freed us, the guard said quietly. You enslave us again. The others followed, lowering their weapons. Darnell's fury twisted into fear. You fools, without control, will destroy ourselves. Kai stepped forward. Then let us destroy ourselves if we must. That's the point. Darnell lunged, but Kai was faster. He disarmed him, sending the weapon skittering across the platform. The regent stumbled back, hatred in his eyes. You'll regret this, he hissed. Maybe, Kai said, but not today. He turned toward the crowd, raising his voice. The galaxy doesn't need a queen to tell it what to be. It needs each of you to remember what she died for. Not obedience, not fear, compassion. The plaza erupted, not in violence, but applause. It was scattered, hesitant, but real. For the first time in centuries, a Dominion crowd cheered for freedom. Kai exhaled, holstering his weapon. The shard glowed warmly in his hand, a soft hum filling the air like the echo of her laughter. You'd be proud of them, he whispered. They're finally learning. That night, as the fires of rebellion turned to lights of celebration, Kai stood on the roof of the spire watching the sunrise. The sky burned orange and silver, the first dawn of Astrian's new age. He could feel her presence, soft, steady, watching. "Guess we're even now," he said quietly. "You saved the galaxy. I made sure it remembered." The wind carried no reply, but the shard pulsed once, and that was enough. He smiled, turning back toward the solace. The galaxy was wide again, and there was still so much to do. Worlds to rebuild, lives to mend, and maybe somewhere someone else to save, because that's what humans did. Not for glory, not for gain, but because somewhere inside them burned the same defiant light that Lyra Solen had seen. The courage to hope when the stars themselves went dark. As he climbed aboard and the engines ignited, the planet shrank behind him, its people now free to choose their own future. The stars ahead shimmered with possibility. Kai set the course and whispered, "Let's go, Your Majesty." The shard glowed once more, brighter than ever, and the solace vanished into the dawn of a new galaxy, one where freedom finally had a face and compassion ruled the stars.